What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode number 20 of the Nati Pod. I'm your host, Ryan Townsend. Thanks again for joining me today as I look to preview the upcoming Monday Night Football game between the Bengals and Steelers at Paul Brown Stadium. Joining me today to help with the preview is a very special guest of mine, new baseball teammate at Wilmington College, incoming freshman Griffin McCauley, big-time Steelers fan, joins the show today. Griffin, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to our chat today. Griffin, we're going to start with something we usually don't do. We just want to talk about the teams a little bit, but I really want to get into the Steelers because talking beforehand, this team was 11-0. This was a team that was supposed to possibly go 16-0. This was a team with high Super Bowl expectations. And so far, after the 11-0 start, you guys have lost back-to-back games against the Washington football team and the Buffalo Bills. So in your opinion here, just from being a fan and watching these games, I know it's weird to talk about a two-game losing streak, but, are you guys okay? What's going on right now in Pittsburgh for all these critics to bash you guys? And what's the main issue you're seeing right now with your team?
I feel like the main issue is obviously we can't run the ball. I mean, we have great offensive line. We refuse to run the ball. I mean, I feel like that goes on the coaching staff at first, but it's tough to run the ball when your running back just comes off the COVID reserve list. You have a bunch of backup running backs. I mean, it's been difficult. Buffalo is a good defense. Washington obviously has a top run defense and defense overall. I mean, I just feel running the ball and then of course the drops. I mean, they lead the league in drops, which has been terrible to see. It's been hurting me personally. I've been bashing this Steelers on Twitter just myself. So,
well, so the big thing I want to get to with the Steelers is obviously, you guys handle us in the first matchup, 36-10. You obviously have one of, I'd say, a top 5, top 4 defense in the league, and you're one of the favorites to win the AFC. In your opinion, though, are you guys still a Super Bowl contender? Why or why not?
Right now, with the team they have, no, because I feel like the offense hasn't been playing well enough. They haven't shut up the past 3 weeks. That win against the Ravens was not a solid win, in my opinion.
Right.
Because they played, obviously, their practice squad players, whoever they were playing. But they just haven't shown that they can move the ball consistently every drive, which you kind of need to do that because you're not going to beat the Kansas Cities. You won't beat Tennessee again if you play like that. Indianapolis, you're about to play them in the regular season. The Browns offense has a run offense that's really good. They have the two-headed monster with Chubb and Hunt. I just feel like it's going to be difficult unless they find a way to move the ball down the field consistently for them to go far at all.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree with that. The big thing that I've always said, I'm one of those guys who hates the Steelers, but I look at it realistically, and you brought up a good point. You don't have a run game. Do you see that as, obviously it's a weakness, but do you see that putting harm on the future of Big Ben and how much longer he can play? Because the big thing I look at is yes, is Big Ben a first ballot Hall of Famer? Absolutely. I 100% think that he's in the Hall of Fame. The thing that gets me is you have two backups in Mason Rudolph and Devin Hodges, if he's still there, Duck Hodges. I don't know if he's still there in the practice squad or not. And you have those two quarterbacks. But if you're going to ask Big Ben to throw the ball 50-plus times in a game or 45 to 50, you're going to take these last 4 years that you have of him, and he's going to wear down quicker than you think. Are you guys halting Big Ben, and are you guys using him in the right way? Because obviously in these next couple of drafts, you're going to have to go get a quarterback. What's your worry right now with having no run game and the longevity of Big Ben in these next 3 to 4 years?
My biggest worry, I said it all last week. I was watching that Bills game. Ben did not leave the pocket, I think, once. And he just can't. Every time he tries to, they collapse on him and he just takes a sack. It's rough. Because, I saw this this article earlier. It said, the dream offseason for the Steelers. I'm honestly calling for Ben to retire after this year because he just can't move. His knee is trending right in the wrong direction. Don't get me wrong. He's having a great season. We talked about this before, but he's having a really good season. But I just don't see how you can compete every game, take constant hits, and just be okay with not leaving the pocket. Because I saw the dream offseason for the Steelers. This guy was re-sign Dupree, re-sign Schuster, re-sign Hilton, and then trade up in the draft to draft Zach Wilson, fire their offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach becomes offensive coordinator, and Ben becomes the quarterback's coach.
Wow. So I've seen the Zach Wilson talk, and I have seen some Mac Jones talk a little bit because Zach Wilson, I think, so far is a top 10 quarterback. And I think Mac Jones is going to fall anywhere from 15 to 25 in your guys' range of, the short trade up if you don't get it. So that's kind of interesting to me. Do you think, not saying that you know anything like inside the locker room, but do you think Big Ben would be opening to retiring this year and being the coach, or do you really think he wants to keep playing?
I feel like he definitely wants to keep playing, win another Super Bowl, but I feel like he should be content with the year he's having. I mean, he's having a really good year. Like, he's thrown, I think, maybe 6-7 interceptions. That's definitely low for, like, going on in the years as past years.
Yeah,
so I don't know, really.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with that, but, like, my thing is, like, if Big Ben – so if you guys put yourself in that situation, though, and saying Big Ben is done after this year, like you're saying you think he should, like, do you guys fall off the AFC North train with the Baltimore Ravens on the come-up, with the Cleveland Browns on the come-up, and obviously the Cincinnati Bengals, I would say, give it another 3 to 4 years and let Joe Burrow really mesh with the team and probably a new coaching staff, they'll be up there. But do you guys fall back in the slate of the division? Do you worry about that if Big Ben doesn't play and you have to get a new quarterback?
I definitely do worry because, I mean, you saw last year, Mason Rudolph played the entire year, Duck Hodges. They went 8-8. They couldn't win against the teams that they were supposed to have a good game with. They'd lose those games, and the teams they were supposed to beat, they would beat, which obviously isn't a recipe for like a Super Bowl winning team. And, like, I guess that's why they think people think that they're overrated this year because they're playing those easy teams that they should beat. And now they ran into a good defense in Washington and a really good team in Buffalo, and they've lost the game. That Buffalo game was a lot worse than the score was. I don't care what anybody says. That was not a close game, like, in between the lines.
No, I watched the whole thing. I have Stephon Diggs on my fantasy team, and I was rooting hard for him. And I was just watching the composure of the team, not getting a run game, Connor trying to get here and there, Benny Snell here and there, a couple Curtis Samuel touches, and the drops too. I know Deontay Johnson, he was sat for a couple quarters. Is Deontay Johnson going to be back ready to go this Sunday? Is he going to be in that right mindset?
I really hope so. I mean, I think he'd get a fire lit under him after actually getting benched, like Coach Tomlin finally benching him, saying he was going to do what he said he was going to do. Then he finally did. So I'm hopefully he's been on the jugs machine all practice week and just working on catching the ball, honestly.
Yeah, I would definitely say you guys as Steelers fans are hoping for that. Him and Ebron, too, I would say have been the main two culprits of your drops. I haven't really seen anything bad from Juju or Claypool. I think it's mainly been the targets of Deontay Johnson and Eric Ebron. So
That's another thing. I want to know why Claypool in the Washington game played 31% of the snaps that they had when he's having an insane rookie season. Like, they had Deontay Johnson out there for 80% of the snaps. Eric Ebron out there for about 78, 80% of the snaps, and they're just dropping the ball. I don't know why they didn't go to Claypool.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was noticing, too, in the Buffalo game is that, Chase Claypool emerged as this star a little bit, this rookie star from Notre Dame. Everyone was on him, and now all of a sudden he's not getting the ball. Like, I was playing him this week in fantasy, and Claypool only put up 5 points. Like, are they not trusting him now? Like, is Big Ben and him losing trust? Like, what? I don't understand what the reason. I mean, what's the reason he's only playing 31% of the snaps?
I really don't get it because, like, they could even, like you saw in early on in the season, they ran that end around with him all the time, and they got they got 2 or 3 touchdowns off it. And now they just don't even try to give him the ball. Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's something we're going to get into, I believe, here in this next segment. So we'll just get right into it here. The keys to the game and what to expect. We usually go through with the injury reports, a couple guys go on IR and here and there. But my guy Griffin is getting hip surgery tomorrow, and this is being recorded on a Wednesday. It'll drop on Friday, but we don't have any idea right now of the main injury report. So we wanted to get this done and over with before my guys all drugged up and sedated for the next couple of days. So, by the way, wish you the best of luck in that surgery, man. Hope
Thanks,
it all goes
buddy.
well
I appreciate it.
So we'll get into it right here with the keys to the game and what to expect. So, Griffin, I'll start with you here. The Steelers defense, like I said, top 5, top 4. We'll even go top 3 defense. I think Washington's up there too, and Buffalo showed a little bit, the Saints and Baltimore, all that teams. What do they really have to do to limit this already weakened Bengals offense come Monday night?
I feel like it's the pressure. These past few weeks, the Steelers, like, they've been playing not the greatest offensive lines, and they just haven't been getting to the quarterback. I don't know what happened because, like, they're obviously, like, leading the league. They have this sack record that they just broke for consecutive games with sacks, and that they just haven't, like, you'd think they get, like, 5 sacks a game. They're getting, like, 2, 3, maybe 1. Like, I think if you get to the quarterback and is it Brandon Allen that's going to be starting? Or
Right now, Zach Taylor said Brandon Allen should be good to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he can't go this week in practice and Ryan Finley. Right now, if I was a betting man, I would tell you Brandon Allen's going to be the starter Monday night.
Okay, well, unexperienced quarterback, obviously, he's in his, like, few starts. I feel like if you put pressure on him enough and he gets put him out of the pocket, hit him a few times, it'll be tough for them to lose that game.
Yeah, I don't see them losing that game either way. But on the Bengals offense here, the 3 big things I have for them is, number one, we have to chew the clock. If you want any chance of pulling the upset here, by the way, I think right now they're either 10.5 or an 11.5 point underdog. If you want any chance of pulling that upset, you have to chew the clock. You have to keep Big Ben off the field, and you have to try and let your offense get in the rhythm. The other 2 things, I think, we have to take shots. Okay, we can't be afraid to just do the dump downs and the dink and dunk. Like, you have to take shots because you never know. One of those shots get hit. T. Higgins can catch a long ball. A.J. Green, for some reason, can come out of his shell. Like, if you take shots and capitalize on that, you turn the game around. And then the other thing, I think, is you got to let Brandon Allen roll. I think in his 3rd game last week, he was 27 of 36, 217 yards with a touchdown, no picks, no sacks. He looked comfortable. And I think Zach Taylor drew up a great game plan to let him be comfortable and to let him roll. If you put the offense around Brandon Allen and let him dish it out to his receivers, I think the offense is going to be set up for more success than people would anticipate, but not the success that you need to win the ball game, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I feel this game's going to be a lot different. I mean, the Steelers obviously have a lot of injuries on their defense. They just lost Spillane. Bud Dupree's been hurt. They've been bouncing off each other. Vince Williams on the COVID list. I don't know if he'll come off. I feel like for the Steelers defense, they obviously have to slow the pace down a little. And chewing the clock, obviously, is probably what the Bengals would do because they get them on their back feet and just slow them down, put them, like, in their own little ball. And then you have to sub people in and out, and that's what they don't have. The Steelers don't have a lot of depth now because of the injuries that are going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that for sure. I totally forgot about a couple of the injuries. I saw Spillane went down. I had no idea Vince Williams was on the COVID list. Is he?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be back in time, or do you not know where he's at right now?
I don't know for sure. I think he will be just in time, but I'm crossing my fingers for that one.
Yeah, I'd be crossing my fingers for that too. So flipping it over to the other side here, we'll go with the Steelers offense. Like we already talked about earlier, they don't have a run game. They're relying a lot on Big Ben. A lot of the drops here that have happened in the last couple games. What does the offense need to do to turn it around and really put up some points here against the Bengals defense, who, even though we haven't played the greatest competition, 4 of the last 5 games, we've given up less than 20 points to teams. What do you guys have to do to really put it on us this week?
You got the obvious one. You got to establish the run game. I mean, you got James Conner back. He should have a really good game against the Bengals defense, I feel like. But here's the thing with I've been watching these games the past few weeks, and I've literally been sitting with my friends calling out exactly what the plays are going to be that the Steelers run because the offense is just so predictable and so one-dimensional. And I'm just like, wow, I don't know how I'm doing it. I'm a 19-year-old who's never coached a game of football in my life, and I'm just calling out exactly what an NFL offense is going to run. I feel like you don't need to take those 2nd and 1 shots to the end zone. You need to do the obvious and just leap over the line, get the first down, and then reset the drive. Like, I feel like you just need to control the pace of the game and just do what you do best, not try to be who you aren't.
So you're basically calling for more of the creativity factor this week in playing the Bengals.
Yes. Because the thing with the Bengals, they always like to play spoiler at the end of the year. I remember, obviously, the Dalton to Boyd to beat the Ravens to put the Bills in the playoffs.
Yep.
I just don't know. I just want to see more productivity of, like, different plays, not the same thing every week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because so my girlfriend's family is a bunch of Steelers fans. Her mom and dad are both born and raised in Pennsylvania, huge Pittsburgh fans, and we've had this talk. And I completely agree with your statement of you're calling out the plays because I told her, I said, her name's Vicky. Her mom's name is Vicky. I said, listen, Vicky, if I was a defensive coordinator for any NFL team and I'm playing the Steelers offense this week, there's 3 things I know. They have no run game. Big Ben throws all the time, and they run the exact same plays all the time. I mean, I'm calling out against the Bills. I'm like, oh, here comes that slant. Oh, here comes that out route. Here comes this toss right here. Like I agree with what you're saying. You can definitely see it. Like in my key here, you got to stop the quick game and you have to limit the run game. So I think the Bengals will give up a couple here on the run game, a couple yards. But the Steelers are shot takers on second down. They're not shot takers when it matters. They do quick games. They do the slants. 2nd and 12, they're calling a screen to Juju. Like, if you're a defensive coordinator, like, you're happy that you're playing the Steelers because you know their weaknesses. I mean, am I wrong in saying that?
You're not wrong at all. I mean, like, they're just so predictable. They have been under Randy Fichtner. They're just so predictable. That's why I feel like with Matt Canada, with his quarterback play, he'd be more experienced in calling the plays and, like, getting a little bit of creativity into the offense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And picking it back up here to what I was talking with the Bengals D, I've seen some film work on the Steelers this week with Greg Crisell, Matt Bowen on Twitter. A couple Steelers fans have been calling out. How do you say his name? Fichtner? Is that how you say his name? Their offense coordinator?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, people have been calling him out because they've been saying, like, you know, Juju is not this guy to keep throwing slants to. Juju's not this guy to throw screens to. Juju's this guy to send on the curls, to send on the post routes, to send on the streaks, and you're not using all your players to your advantage. I mean, think about it here. You guys drafted Deontay Johnson out of the University of Toledo because he was a speedster. When you're just giving Deontay Johnson the drag routes and you're giving him the slant routes and the hitches, you're not using your players to your full advantage. I can see your frustration and why that would be causing it for you guys and all Steelers fans.
Yeah, it's just they can't move the ball consistently. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, you think, like, you say the same thing every week, which is why you get tired of it. Like, it's the same thing they lose. The reason they've lost these past 2 games is the same thing. They can't run the ball and they can't move it productively. And then they just keep on dropping the ball. It's the same thing. And next thing you know, it's going to be one after another.
Yeah, I can definitely see that for sure. I think hopefully we'll see a lot of that just on the Bengals side. We'll see the drops and we'll see the quick game. I mean, hopefully Lou Anarumo and Zach Taylor can figure it out. I mean, let's be real here. For 22-year-old and a 19-year-old are figuring out on a Zoom call for a podcast. I would hope those 2 NFL coaches can figure out this week of what they have to do.
I hope so.
Just for the sake of us. But we'll move it over here to the second segment, prediction time here. So in the last matchup, healthy Joe Burrow at Pittsburgh, a 425 game. The Bengals were defeated by the Pittsburgh Steelers 36-10. Game started out shaky for the Bengals, wasn't really close after that. Griff, what do you have for the score this week at Paul Brown Stadium on Monday night, and why do you have that score?
I'd say it's going to be closer, maybe like 10 points. I say about like 24-14 because I feel like the offense will have – I mean, the offense will have a bounce-back game for the Steelers. They'll hopefully try to find a way to run the ball. And then it's just – this defense is Steelers defense is Steelers defense. It's just they suffocate the quarterback. They make him uncomfortable. And then they limit they need to limit the big plays to keep it into like the 10-point, 14-point range.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a possibility for sure. Sadly, though, we're on opposite spectrums here. I've got the Steelers winning big in this one. I've got the Steelers 31 and the Bengals 3. I want to say close. Just being a Bengals fan in my heart, I really want to say it's close because I love Pittsburgh week. Whether we're gonna win or lose, I love Pittsburgh week, man. But like at the same time, the Steelers. The 2 factors I come into this. Number 1, the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow. The Bengals have been a different team without Joe Burrow. And number 2, the Steelers have been getting called out the last 3 weeks for 2 L's and playing sloppy against the Baltimore team. They're going to come into Paul Brown Stadium pissed off on prime time. They're going to look to embarrass us. Therefore, the Bengals aren't going to score a touchdown, and the Steelers are going to put it on us. I've got 31-3 on Monday night in Paul Brown Stadium. I hope it doesn't come to that, but if I had to put a score prediction and I had to make a bet, I've got the Steelers in a big blowout. Big blowout win.
Hopefully that happens. I mean, I need it for my sanity.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. The sanity of being a fan, man. I mean, hey, you don't even have it as bad as I do at 2-10-1. You've got 11-2, but now your team's going from Super Bowl and dude, I feel that for sure. So last segment here of the day, and then we'll wrap it up here. The bold prediction. We usually go one on offense, one on defense. Joey DePoy a couple weeks ago on the Dolphins pod, we went with special teams. So Griff, give me a bold prediction, one for the offense, one for the defense, or one for whatever you want with the special teams. At least try and give me one or two here. What do you think could be something bold on Monday night?
All right, for the Steelers offense, I feel like James Conner will have 2 touchdowns, surprisingly. I don't think he's going to break the 100-yard mark. He'll get up there. He'll get more production. They'll finally turn around, hand him the ball. And I feel like Ben may throw for maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns, and that's it.
Okay. Anything big on the defensive side or the special teams side?
Special teams for the Bengals, I feel like they might run a punt back maybe because there's always something with the Steelers and Bengals that, like, with punt returns, kick returns in the past years. I mean, I feel like Erickson, is that the return man?
Yeah, Erickson.
I feel like he might take one back or put him in good position.
Okay. I could see it for sure. Hopefully Erickson is able to do something. You know, the last time we played, we get you on a 3-and-out, and then he fumbles right away, and then you guys just take the game away from that. So hopefully Erickson's got it in himself to maybe do something this week on the special teams side. I would hope at least, I would hope for my sanity on that side. Mm-hmm. But for the Bengals here on offense, I know TJ Watt usually lines up on the right tackle, which is Bobby Hart, or he might flip-flop with Alex Highsmith now that Bud Dupree's gone. So I put 3 offensive linemen who could possibly face TJ Watt: Bobby Hart, rookie Akeem Adeniji, our 6th-round pick out of Kansas, and Fred Johnson, who you guys had last year in the practice squad, and we were able to sign him off waivers. Those 3 tackles, if they all face him, if none of them face him, well, probably one of them is going to face him, but those guys will not allow TJ Watt to record a sack. I believe in the 36-10 game, he had 2.5 sacks with 4 quarterback hits, and he forced a fumble. We were able to get it back. But this week, TJ Watt will not record a sack against any of those guys this week. I find that pretty bold because TJ Watt has owned the Bengals, Bud Dupree a little bit. Both of them have owned us the last couple of years. And then on the defensive side, Von Bell is going to record 2 interceptions against Big Ben this week. That's what I'm going to go with this week. I wanted to say Jesse Bates, but I felt like that would be too obvious. Jesse Bates has led the team this year in defense. He's been the guy. So, I'm going to go with our man-to-man guy. I'm going to go with Von Bell, and he's going to have 2 interceptions. So
I'm starting to believe the Jesse Bates hype, man. I really am.
Dude, I know. Me and you talked about it earlier, and at first you were like, I don't know. Like, you've got to give him another year. And then we were watching – I forget what game we were watching in my apartment. You're like, Jesse Bates is definitely at least top 10 or top 8 safety in the league, which I'm thankful a lot of people are coming to it now because he is an animal at safety.
He is.
Man, I think it's going to be a fun game for everyone involved, and I'm looking forward to it on Monday night. Man, I love Pittsburgh week, man. I love it. Gets me excited. Hopefully my score doesn't come correct. I hope it's a little more towards your score, but I'm looking forward to it on Monday Night Football, ESPN. Hopefully the commentators enjoy it with us. So that's going to do it for us here on the Nasty Natty Pod. Griff, I want to thank you again so much for coming out, and I want to wish you the best of luck tomorrow in your hip surgery, my man.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Yes, sir, as always. Tune in for content this week. Matt Roberts is going to join us on the post-pod. Probably going to be a Tuesday post-pod or a Wednesday post-pod. We're supposed to go to the game on Monday night, so we're probably not going to be able to do anything that night. Look for it on Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully we can get some Reds content up this week for you guys with the free agency and the trades and all that. But tune in for more content this week on the website, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Who day?